Hi, this is James Gordon Library here with the final book in the Cyberpunk trilogy. I'm so glad I am done this series. The last book I will be talking about today, William Gibson's Virtual Light. This was first published in September 6, 1993, and this is one of the few instances where the book is signed by the author right there. And look, the person who got this book signed back in 1993 has the same first name as me. Wow. What are the chances of that happening? This must mean a good thing, right? Wrong. This was one of the most disappointing books out of the Cyberpunk trilogy I've read. I know I didn't enjoy Count Zero, and Burning Chrome was also another huge letdown, but this was a really, really just disappointing book. I do hear a lot of Willie Gibson's other books like Neuromancer and The Mona Lisa Drive, even though I didn't like that one. But on the Difference Engine, that's another book I hear about too. But this is one book by his I do not ever hear about, or the Bridge series, I think this is called. I don't hear much about that, and I think I know why I don't hear anything about this book, which I'll explain later on in my review. It's a really disappointing book. Anyway, on to the review. Plot. Set in the dystopian world of 2006, where United States and Japan are hit with the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, Godzilla causes ecological collapse after destroying west coast of America. Middle class no longer exists, leaving only the rich to control most of the states, leaving the poor in rougher areas in America, with many living off-grid or in old, forgotten historical landmarks. Police act as private security, or as they're called, rent-a-cops. Barry Rindon, once a cop, but was fired after killing a suspect during the line of duty, and later getting involved in crashing into a mansion in Hollywood Hills, even though it wasn't his fault. After working different jobs, Rindon is hired by a wealthy bondsman, Lucifer's lure baby, to work as a private security and driver. Rydell is hired along with three other men, Freddie Savabati and Orleski, to find a woman named Chevette Washington, a bike messenger who stole a pair of black sunglasses from a man during a party. They track her down to Oakland Bay Bridge in San Francisco, where the poor have turned the ruined bridge into their living quarters. However, Rydell begins questioning their mission along with the item that has been stolen. When Rydell does find Chevette, he is double-crossed by his own employer, along with a ruthless hitman, Loveless, who's tried killing both Rydell and Chevette. Both Rydell and Chevette are able to escape and go on the run, traveling across San Francisco to LA while trying to find out why everybody wants these black sunglasses and what threat they pose to the world. This was a very disappointing novel. Not only does Virtual Light fail to offer anything new, interesting, or exciting, but the whole plot falls flat. Hardly any action, none of the characters were interesting or likable, none of the scenes stuck out to me. The only set piece I liked was the ruins of the bridge where the poor and gangs were living in, but that was it. Virtual Light also fails to explain unanswered questions such as what does the black sunglasses do? Why does everyone want them so badly? Why did Chevette take them and after trying them on and not seeing anything didn't throw them away? What is the threat these black sunglasses pose? None of these questions are answered, and the ending doesn't explain any of them. Other problems I had with Virtual Light were the lack of detail and better description when it was needed most. During the course of this novel, there are scenes that don't make any sense or what's going on, along with bad dialogue, which at times could be confusing. And lastly, while reading Virtual Light, I began to pick up on the similarity of another dystopian cyberpunk novel I read before, Snow Crash. Both novels have the same type of world where the rich control everything, leaving criminals and the mob to control the other half. Even the two main characters felt like copies of Snow Crash characters. Both hero protagonist and Barry Rydon are hired drivers working for the rich, and YT and Chevette Washington are both couriers. I strongly felt Willie Gibson wanted to do something similar to Nell Stephenson's Snow Crash, but fails. If Gibson put more effort into this novel and offered a lot more action, explaining unanswered questions, crafted better and more likable characters, and took out a few subplots, then this novel could have been better. Reading Virtual Light was like trying to make a plain, boring concrete wall interesting to look at. Overall, I don't recommend reading Virtual Light. It doesn't have anything worth reading for or offer anything good. If you want to read a good novel by William Gibson, check out Neuromancer. However, if you want to read a dystopian cyberpunk novel, then read Nell Stephenson's Snow Crash. It's way better than Virtual Light. And that is it for this review. Short and simple because there's not really anything interesting to talk about Virtual Light. It's one of the worst books I read by William Gibson since Count Zero. Like, I consider Count Zero to be a step backwards than forwards after Neuromancer, but Virtual Light is a cheap copy of Snow Crash. None of the characters are memorable. There's nothing interesting about them. The whole world is never explained how it works, even how the police force functions. And the reality TV show that the characters talk about is Cops in Trouble, which is supposed to be like the reality show of cops, but Cops in Trouble seems like it's mostly about officers getting in trouble with the law than doing their job. It doesn't make any sense. And overall, the whole entire book is forgettable. There's nothing memorable of it. After you read it, you won't remember anything exciting about it. And Willie Gibson's biggest weakness is action set pieces. He is terrible when it comes to action set pieces. He doesn't have any action in this book. And you need action set pieces to make a story interesting, to make it to progress further. Without action set pieces, basically, you just leave the reader bored. Like, he just wants to either put the book down and read something else, or just get to the end so he can be done with it. And this book has hardly any action. It's like, well, let's take Snow Crash, but let's take out all these interesting characters and set pieces and just basically simplify to the point where it's just there's nothing to offer. As I said, this book falls flat. It fails. And the sunglasses, I felt, were basically a MacGuffin. They served no point in the story other than to move forward, but they're the item that everyone's talking about. Yet when people put the sunglasses on, all the thing does is that they can see things with them. That's it. It's not like a super weapon or able to like gain information. That's all it does. You put them on, you see things with them. That's it. And another reason why Virtual Light fails is William Gibson doesn't explain how this world works and how things came to be, other than the earthquake Godzilla that the characters talk about throughout the novel. That is basically the only part he explains. The rest of the book, he doesn't explain anything else, and there were too many pulp culture references in this book. Like, too many. Like, I don't mind a pulp culture reference here and there in a book when it's subtle, but when you just kind of force it just kind of ruins it. And in Snow Crash, Nell Stephenson, what he does in the beginning of the book, he explains how the whole world works, how everything came to be, and why. And then he introduces the characters, how they function in this world, and what they do, and that's the reason why that book works. Virtual Light is the polar opposite. It doesn't explain anything. It just doesn't work. You don't explain things in the book. You're leaving unanswered questions, and it's just going to annoy the reader, then make them more engaged with the novel. If William Gibson really wanted to do if William Gibson really wanted to do a novel similar to Nell Stephenson's Snow Crash, he really should have put more effort into it and made it more interesting. And come on, William Gibson, have you seen action movies? Do you watch crime and action movies? Do you not understand how action set pieces work? You really need those in your stories to make them more interesting. Without them, they're boring. And again, in Snow Crash, there's a lot of action in it, with both hero protagonist and YT, with interesting like action set pieces and a lot of intense moments that kept me on the edge of my seat. If only Virtual Light had that, it probably would have been a lot better. Virtual Light was just the worst. And the real bummer is that this book is signed by the author, and I thought, ooh, and it has my name, it has the person who got the sign had the exact same name as I do, so I thought, ooh, this might be a good luck charm. But after reading this book, I was like, I don't even want to own it after reading this. This book was just a real letdown. Now, I know Willie Gibson did enjoy Snow Crash, and I felt that's where he got the inspiration to do Virtual Light, but just a terrible attempt to do a dystopian cyberpunk novel. Just really terrible. Oh man! And even I looked up other reviews to see if other people had the same issues, and pretty much everyone had the same problem with it. Even some were commenting that this is like a terrible attempt to copy Snow Crash and just fail. Oh, I'm glad I'm done. I actually finished reading the book last night. I was just so glad to have it done because I was so bored with it. Terrible. Alright, enough rambling on about that. That's it for this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will finish off the last book in the late Summer Slaughter series, Dirty White Boys. I'm going to read much as I can this week and get it done. And I already got my next 2 novels selected after I'm done. George Orwell's 1984 and Bentley Little's University, so I'm looking forward to reading those, and hopefully those will be a lot better books. And I've already been plotting out what other horror and science fiction novels I want to read. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the Facebook group, and the YouTube channel of the same name, a place you can post, share, and view fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.